right, welcome to Live Impact News on this Friday afternoon. We are not alone because a widespread winter storm is developing from Texas all the way to the East Coast. So many people talking about this, so many people preparing, and our weather impact alert will begin tomorrow morning with some extremely cold air coming into Hampton Roads. All right, let's start off. Let's jump right into it with meteorologist Hunter Forrest. We want to know the latest update, Hunter.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that's right, Janet. You're correct. Heading into tomorrow morning, single-digit wind chills. It is going to be brutal around here. Even some of us feeling like 0 or even below 0. So that's why our weather impact alert starts heading into tomorrow morning. And then for most of the day, we're dry. We're frigid, but dry. And then we're going to see some snow showers moving in Saturday evening into Saturday night, into early Sunday morning. But then we see that transition to sleet, ice, and rain Sunday morning. So that's going to put an end to snow accumulations. Could even melt it a bit. So if you're waking up at 8, 9, 10 in the morning tomorrow or Sunday morning, it may not look very pretty depending on where you are. You know, if you're in Norfolk and you wake up at 10 in the morning, a lot of that snow will be melted from the rain. Okay. And it'll be a lot slushier and not very pretty out.
Right, okay.
But if you want to see some nice snow in Norfolk, I'd say
get up early.
Get up early around 2 o'clock.
Don't
and
oversleep.
Then you can make some snow angels then. But here's a look at our futurecast wind chill Saturday morning. Single digits across the board. 7 in Ahoskie, 5 in Virginia Beach, 8 in Norfolk, Williamsburg, 2, 3 below 0 in Accomack and Tappahannock, 16 in Kill Devil Hills. That's the warm spot. 10 in Edenton, 5 over in Roanoke Rapids. So here's a look at our futurecast. You know, through this evening, if you have any plans, you know, tonight, it's not looking bad. A typical January evening, mid to upper 30s. Then we're really going to see some cold air filtering in heading into Saturday morning. So you're waking up, it's 7, 8 o'clock, temperatures in the upper teens to low 20s, feeling more like the single digits because it's going to be breezy tomorrow. We'll see an increase in cloud cover through the morning. Okay. Highs are only in the, upper 20s for a lot of us. Still feeling like the upper teens in the afternoon. But we're dry. So here's 5 o'clock Saturday evening.
You see it coming.
You see it coming on in.
It's approaching.
It's approaching. But, say you had, something last minute to do at 4 or 5 o'clock. You can do it. Okay. Roads will be fine.
This may be a crazy question, but what are the arrows? Is that the wind
that's
pushing
the wind.
it back? Okay.
Yes. So that's the wind right now coming in from the north and east. And then 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we start to see the snow filtering on in for pretty much everyone by 9 o'clock. Okay. So that's from Elizabeth City up through Suffolk, Norfolk, Cape Charles, Gloucester, Richmond. Could see some heavier snow bands at times. But this is the window when we're going to see that snow accumulation.
So get home before 9 o'clock.
Yes. That's a good idea, Janet.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice over, the next couple of hours, midnight, 1 o'clock, that wintry mix, freezing rain, sleet gets further to the north. So this is 12, 1 o'clock, getting into the south side, eastern North Carolina. Less snow, more mix, snow accumulations starting to stop. And then, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, it continues to push to the north. Rain gets into the south side at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That really eats away at your snow totals.
So Norfolk and Virginia Beach may wake up and it's just, no white.
It may not,
Yeah, possibly.
If the transition happens a little bit later and they get a little bit more snow.
Right. Then,
maybe if you wake up early enough, you could see a little bit. But 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, it starts to rain, and you got a couple inches of fresh snow on the ground. It's not going to. It's going to be ugly.
And then I see, you got temperatures above freezing, at least in Norfolk and Virginia Beach at that time. Yep. So, but it's still going to be really cold because it's going to be coming off of what was an extremely cold night overnight.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you were saying, 4 or 5 o'clock, we're still seeing temperatures, at or above freezing around Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Elizabeth City. So roads could be getting better at this point. But temperatures are still below freezing around Gloucester, Williamsburg, Ivor, Roanoke Rapids. So this is where, some of that freezing rain comes in, because at the surface, we're below freezing.
Yeah.
But aloft, there's some warmer air. So you're getting raindrops falling through the atmosphere, and then by the time it gets to the surface, it freezes on contact because temperatures are below freezing, and that's where you see that glaze of ice, which can be heavy, especially if you get a lot. So that's what can lead to some of those power outages and tree limbs coming down. But by the middle and end of Sunday morning, that freezing rain issue pushes a little bit further westward. So things could start to improve in Gloucester, Williamsburg, Ivor, Suffolk, and Murfreesboro by middle to late morning as temperatures rise above freezing, but stay below freezing along 95.
Okay.
So, say 12 o'clock rolls around, and this is what it's looking like. Of course, it's not going to look exactly like this, but it gives you an idea of what could go down Sunday morning into the afternoon. I mean, roadways certainly much better closer to the coast. We're right around 40 degrees, but the further west you go, they'll be worse, especially along 95. And then we'll see a little bit more mix trying to move in heading into Sunday evening with some rain as well. Rain showers early Monday morning, and then it pushes out 5, 6 o'clock Monday morning. So here's a look at that snowfall outlook. And remember, snow window up there in the top right, 8 p.m. Saturday to 3 a.m. Sunday. That's it.
That's it.
So don't want you thinking by noon on Sunday, thinking, where's the snow? Because it's long gone by then. So it's a short window to have that snow accumulation. Could pick up 1 to 3 inches on the south side, up to an inch in eastern North Carolina. 3 to 6, a little bit more to the north around Hampton, Williamsburg, Melfa. And then even 6 to 8 possible in the purple. So further off towards the north around Richmond, Tappahannock, maybe even around Chincoteague as well. But won't stay forever. And by forever, I mean through the day on Sunday.
Yeah.
Melting quickly. But here's a look at the ice potential, which is, of course, even more dangerous than snow. And Jen and I have been saying this the last couple of days. Ice is very dangerous.
Yeah, we don't want to mess with ice.
We don't want to mess with ice. Even the tiniest little glaze on the
Yeah.
roadways could cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, so look at the times there, and where you're starting to see some ice. You see Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
even, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, still seeing a little bit of glaze falling down. And that lasts, into the late morning and early afternoon. But I would say the worst freezing rain for us will be early Sunday morning to about noon, 1 o'clock. And then we see more of that transition to rain for a lot of us, and things start to get better.
Okay.
So, Sunday morning, even into the early afternoon, going to be some major impacts, especially on the roads, some power outages.
Right.
Because you're seeing, 3/10 of an inch in Franklin, 2/10 of an inch in West Point, even up to close to a half an inch in Richmond and Emporia, which would cause some major power outages. But, even around Edenton, Chesapeake, where you're seeing 1/10 of an inch, still could cause an isolated power outage or two. And slick spots out on the roadways. But the higher the amount, the higher likelihood you see your power going out. And we could take a look at the winter weather impacts for Sunday. You'll notice minor impacts for a lot of the south side. And even into eastern North Carolina, not a whole lot.
Right.
Because you see that transition to rain early it's pretty much cold rain through the day on Sunday. So you're not going to be seeing major impacts with that. But, the Eastern Shore, even though you do see that transition, it's later in the day, so they pick up a little bit more in the way of snow. Certainly could be seeing some moderate impacts there, icy roads, power outages if they see some freezing rain in the morning. But those impacts get worse the further west you go. So especially along 95, we're seeing major impacts in red, Franklin, Williamsburg, Ahoskie, on that cusp of moderate impacts where, of course, you'll see some icy roads and power outages from that freezing rain Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. So the closer you are to the coast, impacts not as bad as further inland because of that snow and ice that you'll be seeing more compared to, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and especially the Outer Banks.
Right.
The Outer Banks could be close to 60 degrees.
On Sunday?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because North Carolina is under a state of emergency. There are parts of North Carolina
Yeah.
that are really, really going to feel it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then 60 degree.
Yeah.
It's like
it's insane.
You got the entire East Coast and, this massive winter storm. But meanwhile, on the Outer Banks, it's 60 degrees. Okay.
It'll still be raining, but
Yeah.
60 degrees nonetheless.
Wow.
But I did want to bring up this graphic about sleet versus freezing rain.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
So say you had two plain donuts.
Uh-huh.
They had nothing on it. And you held one out over freezing rain and held one out over sleet.
Okay.
So the one on the left, the freezing rain, would look like a glazed donut.
That looks like a Krispy Kreme donut.
It looks
my
like
favorite.
it'll look like a Krispy Kreme donut because you get liquid rain falling down from the sky, but it freezes on contact because the surface is at or below freezing. Mm-hmm. And you could see that there on the graphic, especially along the branches, that glaze of ice, and that could keep adding up and adding up and adding up. Mm-hmm. And that's what can cause those branches to eventually, crack and break, fall onto power lines, causing power outages. But for sleet has a beat. It's like this. You could hear it falling down.
And you can't hear the freezing rain.
No, it's more it's silent.
That's okay. That's a good way. So you will know sitting in your home.
Yeah.
That's sleet. Okay.
And sleet can accumulate, right?
But
it's not as, I don't want to say it's not. Freezing rain is the most dangerous,
Absolutely.
Type of precip to drive in. Mm-hmm. Sleet, as a rule, isn't as bad. But I wouldn't want to, advise you to go out if it was sleeting. Mm-hmm. But sleet is more frozen raindrops. They're like little ice pellets bouncing on impact. Right. And that's why it looks more like sprinkles on the donut.
But don't expect it to be that color, right?
Yeah. Correct. It's not going to be as pretty.
Okay. And we don't get freezing rain a lot around here. I mean,
not from what I've seen, no. And luckily, our whole area isn't going to be seeing, a ton of it. Mm-hmm. But of course, in our inland area, certainly could see some. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not like it doesn't happen super often.
Yeah, which is good news.
Which is great.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like we were saying before, parts of North Carolina, even interior Virginia, central Virginia, going to be seeing a ton of it.
Yeah.
And all the way down through Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, a lot of freezing rain.
Just a massive, massive system. Yeah. Now, up in northern Virginia, and maybe around Richmond, snow totals. I mean, they're still talking about double digits up there possibly, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even more north of Richmond.
Okay.
So getting up to around D.C.
Yeah.
Could see, over 10 inches of snow. Where I'm from in Connecticut, they're forecasting like 10 to 16 inches of snow.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty widespread. Mm-hmm. It's a big storm.
And the issue is that, especially up there, it's going to stick around for a while. I mean, they're going to have a hard time clearing roads. It's going to take, people are really going to have to be patient.
Yeah.
Because of the temperatures following the storm.
And I'm curious about, since it's such a big storm from, Texas all the way up through New England, and you know how, like, if one area sees, a major winter storm, you could send in resources from
Yeah.
other states.
Right.
But if it's so widespread, those states need those resources.
Well,
you know?
I was thinking about that because in North Carolina, they have already said we're getting people coming in from other states. And I thought, well, where in the world are they coming from? Because it's so, and I thought, you can't bring them in from the Midwest because they're still dealing with, maybe it's just cold up there, though.
That's true.
And they can get some people. Very interesting.
Yeah. Up in Chicago this morning, 30 below. So, yes, it was
30 below wind chill.
30 below wind chill.
Right.
Yes. Up in International Falls in Minnesota, 50 below wind chill this morning.
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
Yeah,
and that's the cold air that's going to be swooping on in tomorrow morning. But luckily, it's not going to be that cold.
No,
But
no.
freezing for us. Even, a few wind chills below zero. So, just, it's going to be rough.
Now, show me again, and we have an interview coming up. I'm hoping you can stick around. But into Monday morning, can you show me again what's happening, once that, because it's going to get cold, again, obviously Sunday night. And so what are the dangers Sunday, late night into Monday morning?
So I would certainly say some black ice is possible heading into Monday morning.
Okay.
It's not looking like temperatures are going to plummet.
Well, that's good.
But when you see temperatures at or below freezing, you certainly have that chance to see some ice developing. Maybe not super quickly. But I would certainly watch out for some slick spots Monday morning, especially where you were seeing freezing rain accumulate. Earlier on Sunday.
Well, we'll have to wait to see if school's closed, and folks might want to pay attention to what, like church service on Sunday. I imagine a lot of churches will probably either go online or cancel services Sunday morning because it's definitely going to be a little dicey first thing on Sunday morning.
Yes, for sure.
When it's still really cold.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there were a ton of delays Monday morning. For school. Yeah, like 2-hour delays. Maybe a few cancellations. Can't be, better safe than sorry.
But see, after all that, we need a sunny and 50 by Tuesday, but that's not going to happen.
Janet, I know. It's it's not even like we're going to rise into the mid 40s. We're not even going to get close to that for days and days and days after this. We're staying in the 30s. And maybe a 40 here and there.
Maybe a 40.
And that lasts into February.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so get your coats ready, hats.
So, yeah.
It's not just for this weekend. It's going to continue.
It's going to stay cold.
All right, Naya, do we have Timothy Johnson? We're going to talk to Hampton University, assistant professor in air traffic control, because...
Ooh.
It's in the air and it's on the roads, but I think we're going to take a quick break first, and we will be right back with more on this winter weather. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. We are talking everything winter weather, because as you know, we have that storm that is going to be moving in late tomorrow evening, that is, but it's going to be extremely cold first thing in the morning. So our weather impact alert will start tomorrow morning because of the cold air. So you have a little bit of time left to prepare. We're going to talk a little bit about that right now with Larry Miller. He is with Smith and Keene. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Janet.
Yeah. All right. So you all are busy this time of year because, folks are always having all kinds of issues with their HVAC and then when a storm is coming.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it's even worse.
Right.
So, we don't have a lot of time between now and tomorrow, but what can homeowners do right now to prepare, or what should they have done?
Right now, we probably want to try to duplicate the storm coming by turning your thermostat up 2 or 3 degrees.
Okay.
Make it work a little overtime because eventually your unit will be working overtime with this cool snap coming through.
Oh, okay.
So check your batteries and your thermostat if you have them. Mm-hmm. And other than that, we're pretty good. If it ain't worked by now,
Yeah.
Now
you said turn the thermostat up now.
Right. Right.
What is that? Just
So that duplicates weather coming in. It runs longer to make sure it don't break down, because when we get weathers in the 18 degrees and in the teens, you'll tend to see have that unit will be running longer then. So
Okay.
duplicate it right now, and if it then if it makes set point, turn it back down and you're good to go.
All right, you're good to go. What about the thermostat setting? We have kind of arguments about that here at the
Yeah,
station.
it feels pretty cold in here.
Isn't it cold? Okay,
Yes,
so it's
it
not
is.
just, look, I got a hand warmer right here. Just
Well,
kinda
well,
help
we
me out
all
a little
know
bit.
Department of Energy. Okay, they recommend 68 degrees in the winter, 78 degrees in the summer.
68.
68. So,
Is
and that's
70,
personal
71
preference.
okay? Yeah.
If you want it 70, you do it at 70. So,
Mm-hmm.
but 68 degrees in the winter should be on average good.
Okay. All right. Should people turn down that thermostat at night? A lot of people think that that's what they should do, and they think they're saving money. Is that the thing to do, or what?
If they feel comfortable at that, some people can't sleep in temperatures above 66 degrees. Be honest with you, I see people
Yeah.
that shut it down at 62. But if
Wow.
you have a super snap, cold snap coming through, that unit's going to work overtime trying to catch back up. So, kind of leave it.
Right,
If you want to
right.
leave it on 68, I recommend sleep at 68.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to leave it on 66, you're comfortable sleeping, we'll leave it like that all day then.
Okay.
If you're sleeping, you can throw a blanket on if you're home. Mm-hmm. So.
What kind of stress does that put on an HVAC system?
Puts it in overtime
Okay.
when it's cold. Puts it
Yeah.
in overtime. Puts a lot of stress on the unit, especially an outdoor heat pump.
Uh-huh.
When we got blowing rain, freezing rain, it covers it with ice. It kind of will do it on its own, fix it, but you may have to help it.
Okay. Is there anything that you should look out for, like to know that your system might be heading towards a kaput, like any sounds, any what?
Well, we have the ugliest contest going on right now, actually.
Oh, the
and
ugliest
that's
contest
kinda,
going
yeah,
on.
It's,
I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah. But if you set it on 72 and it's not reaching 72, if it's not reaching set point,
Oh, okay.
okay, if in cut off, I would say give us a call or give your contractor a call.
I have two systems, and the one upstairs, when we turn it on, you hear kind of a rumbling a little bit, and I always wonder, okay, what's going on? Is this thing about to break down?
That's pretty normal.
It's
pretty
okay.
normal. Yeah, it's that's pretty normal. And we hear sounds all the time. It's just part of the equipment now.
Okay. Now, what about things that you can do, not related to your heat, but to kind of keep the cold air out? Things like they talk about putting like something along the crack of your door and things like that. Do you recommend that people?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have if your garage is not insulated, your garage door is not insulated, that always helps. Sealing around windows, any infiltration from the outside air, it's going to come into the house. So we always recommend, taking care of that.
Okay. Well, power may go out, with this storm because of the ice and power outages. And I mean, gosh, this is the last time you would want your power.
I was here in '95 when we had the ice storm.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
It was
So you
really
remember
bad.
that.
I do.
And so some people have generators, but
Yep.
then you have problems sometimes with generators, and
That's
they
right.
don't know how to operate them properly. You don't want a tragedy to happen. Please explain, how do you operate that generator?
Well,
What should you
there's
do?
two types of generators. There's a
Okay.
whole house generator that automatically does it for you.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have your portable that you got to put gas in, drag it outside, hook it back up. Make sure you fill it up with gas, and please put it outside. Don't leave it in your garage.
Don't leave it.
Okay, that's not good. Start it up, and hopefully all this has already been done before the storm got here. So I was out last night doing mine, actually.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay.
making sure gas was in it, firing it up, make sure it works. And yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah, and leave it outside because
Yeah, please don't put it in the garage and your garage doors in and out, please.
of the carbon monoxide.
Exactly.
And I know you recommend that people have detectors. That might be something they could go out and get tonight, though.
Yeah, they can. Probably your local hardware store probably would have those carbon monoxide detectors. Put them in the ceiling. Don't stick them in the kitchen, please.
Okay.
Put them in the central part of your house. If you have a 2-story, same way upstairs.
What is a mistake that you see a lot of people do when it comes to trying to heat their home? That something you're like, I can't believe they did that.
I've
Or-
seen open flame heaters in a den.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah.
Power goes out. Hang in there. Don't turn the stove on. Please, and open the doors. And that's not good for you. Anything with an open flame heater is not good for the space. And if you have kids, especially not good with kids. So
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed lately, but we have covered a number of fires lately. I mean, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had several. There was a fatal
I saw
fire
one you're right.
yesterday in
Yeah.
Hampton. 2 people died,
Terrible.
4
Terrible.
people injured, including a firefighter. And I guess they're still investigating the cause. And there was a big fire in Newport News yesterday at a home
I saw that.
on Mitchville Road. So what is it that, and we know space heaters are, a lot of people bring out the space heaters, and that can be a very dangerous thing. What are the safety tips when it comes to dealing with a space heater?
Well, electric space heaters are fine as long as they got a tip over device.
Okay,
If they
right.
fall over, okay, it'll automatically cut off. Other items are, stoves. Make sure your smoke detectors and carbon dioxide detectors all got batteries. Make sure the batteries are up to date. We all know that. Every year you should be doing that.
Okay. Yeah, and also you should keep the space heater away from anything that's flammable. Like,
Absolutely.
That's like just have it kind of in an open
I didn't bring. I
space.
figured everybody knew that. I didn't
Yeah,
bring that
well,
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, people, if you're a little messy, some
Well,
people,
paper. You're right.
yeah, that throw their clothes, and so that's very important to keep that space heater kind of in an open space if you can.
Keep it away. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, how about our pipes? Frozen pipes might be an issue, and something that I heard yesterday, they always say like drip, but do the hot and the cold water.
We
I
do the
didn't-
cold. Let's do the cold water.
Okay, do the cold.
Yeah, and open your cabinets. That's not a myth. So that is true. Mostly all your I'm not saying mostly, but your kitchen sink and a few others, generally on the outside wall, piped on the inside. So that's your coldest point right there. And no, it is definitely not a myth for sure.
Okay.
Open the cabinets to get room temperature
All right.
and drip that faucet. Yes.
And drip the faucet.
And typically, the furthest point away from your water heater, drip that one because it'll run all through the others.
Now that's something I've never heard. Great tip. The furthest one from the water heater. We'll keep that in mind. Mr. Miller, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Larry Miller from Smith & Keene with some great tips to keep us safe and warm throughout this winter storm. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so Naya, did you learn anything in that?
I did.
You did?
We can toss to a break right now, Janet.
Okay.
Does it look like the first time? I was kind of.
You were great. You were great. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. welcome back to Live Impact News, where we are talking the winter weather storm that is developing and coming our way. We always know that every time there is a storm, there are issues when it comes to air traffic, and we know that some airlines are already canceling flights. Joining me right now, Timothy Johnson, Hampton University Assistant Professor in Air Traffic Control. Sir, thank you for taking some time to talk with us this Friday afternoon.
My pleasure.
Okay, and actually, I'm going to plug up here because I'm not quite hearing you. Just give me a second here. Okay. All right. Mr. Johnson, first of all, what are some of the common issues that we see with air traffic as soon as a storm like this comes?
The first thing you're going to see, of course, are going to be the delays, but the delays will be at your departure airport, most likely.
Okay. Delays and some cancellations, right?
Right, right. And for the cancellations, that's going to be coordinated, behind the scenes, big picture, the system's working, but, it's been held together for most of the controllers that are going to be working in non-controlling positions that are going to be at your flight service stations, your FSS. And they try to handle those cancellation delays, hours prior so you don't even show up at the airport.
And, one of the issues though you may not have as many problems here in Norfolk, but the issue is as big as the storm is, what might some passengers expect to see, like with their connections?
Especially like you just mentioned, the connecting. So they don't always happen where the storm is. There's going to happen where the system feels it. So you just hit the nail on the head that you might not see it where you're actually going to have the storm. It's going to be at those better locations where they can handle the aircraft.
How should customers handle things like that? I mean, what should their expectation be from their airline to help them through this process?
That one is just monitoring the actual inbound aircraft. So if you know the aircraft that you're going to fly on, monitor that on the airline's app. I know that's something that I do myself. I see what aircraft I'm expecting and seeing where it's coming from. If it's coming from a better climate condition, then it should be en route. If it's not en route, they mean that they're delaying it at that location.
Okay. And in terms of how you might be compensated, what's the expectation for a typical cancellation or postponement?
So that's a very good question on what to expect with that expectation. It differs by each airline, of course. So I always say don't expect the expectation. A plan to hopefully you have the insurance, that travel insurance or something like that, because when it comes to everyone wanting to get that compensation, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, because sometimes people think, well, if you cancel my flight and I had to spend the night in the airport overnight, I mean, first of all, should you expect them to put you up in a hotel? Not necessarily, right?
Correct, because most of the times that expectation comes when it's issued from the airline or something happened with the jet itself or the personnel that's handling the aircraft. So if it's an issue from the travel line itself, yes, you can expect that. When Mother Nature is involved, they don't sometimes have to compensate for that.
Yeah. Something that I've noticed just over the years, it just seems like the delays and cancellations are so much worse than what they used to be. It's like you're here, even in the summertime with the thunderstorms, it seems almost constant. Is this something that has gotten worse? And if so, why?
I would say yes and no. No, the fact that, people are just traveling more, so you're hearing about it more. And again, we get the news, at our fingertips. So we're looking at it more. But the sales are still here. The weather just happened. It's just more people are paying attention to travel. That's just my point of view when it comes to it.
What is the condition of air traffic control? We've heard that there's a lack of employees. We know that we had that big DOGE federal job loss early last year. How would you grade the condition of where we are in terms of air traffic control?
We're still at a staffing shortage. That is our biggest issue. And you are just going to feel it more when it comes to a situation like this. But yes, the staffing shortage is our biggest concern at the moment. And then after that, it is upgrading all of the equipment that we need for the modern air traffic system.
And when you talk about upgrading equipment, what about with our airplanes? Because, we're also getting more news about that. Like something has failed on an airplane. An airplane had to make an emergency landing, and it makes you wonder, well, what's the condition of the planes that we fly in?
Well, that I'm not too sure of, but I just know, the planes are getting better and better each year. But I don't want to quote up for some airlines aircraft itself, but I do know that precautions are, determined by the captain of the aircraft itself.
All right. So if you are expecting to fly this weekend, what should you do before you even leave your home?
Monitor not just your local news, but again, keep track of what's happening on the app. I believe the airliners are doing a better job with giving you those delays and those updates before you go, the 3 to 4 hours prior. So not only monitoring the local news, where you're going, monitor that, and then kind of the route that they're going to have to experience. If you have a connecting, where are you going to be connecting? Could you expect a delay there? So just do your homework. If you want to keep those plans, just do the homework yourself to make sure that you can still travel.
The pressure on the airline or the airport to get things running smoothly. Snow versus ice. What are some of the problems that an airport can run into when you're dealing with ice, versus rain or snow?
Again, just those delays because, de-icing the aircraft and just having their equipment on standby to facilitate that. So just having to still operate in between the different departures and arrivals. So just that time consumption because they still need to get everything done, but just in the middle of the flights and then trying to keep those delays from happening. So the airport, they're just trying to make sure that they are able to do that pretty much in the middle of all those departures and arrivals.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Timothy Johnson from Hampton University. We appreciate it. Stay safe and warm this weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Impact News on this Friday afternoon. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are not alone. There are preparations going on up and down the East Coast, other southern states in the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, because this is a massive storm system that's going to affect some 200 million people across the United States. So let's head up to D.C. and listen to Mayor Muriel Bowser to hear how D.C. is preparing.
Serve DC Snow Heroes help people who are unable to shovel their snow with shoveling tasks. And since we haven't had a big snow in a while, this would be a good time for people who have some time and energy and are strong, strapping people who want to help a neighbor. This would be the time to serve your city and your neighbors. So please look out for information for sign up to become a snow hero. And again, I said this earlier and it bears repeating. Check on your neighbors, check on our older family members, and make sure that people in your circles are prepared, because we're going to get a lot of snow and it's going to be very cold next week, which means the snow sticks around. And so we want people to make sure they have food, they have a safe passage in and out. And that goes for everybody. A lot of people get injured during this time. And that's from shoveling snow. So if you're not able, just think about your readiness to be out there moving heavy snow. But there are also a lot of slip and falls that people don't see the ice, don't have great, or think their balance is better than it is. So like just be mindful of yourselves and have a plan to check in with people. And if you're one of those people, have a plan to call out so people know how you're doing and what you're up to, and if you need help. And you can always call us if you need help. So with that, let me turn to Anthony Crispino, who is the director of DPW. He will be followed by the general manager for DC Metro, and Randy Clark. And Randy will be followed by the CEO of Pepco, Tyler Anthony, and then we'll be able to take a few questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to piggyback on what the mayor has said thus far. We are taking this storm very serious. The forecast is starting to firm up, so we have a better idea on what to expect in terms of snowfall. DPW and the snow team have been preparing for a storm somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 12 inches with potential for ice on the back end. So what our preparations have been is making sure that we have all the employees and equipment available to address the conditions that we're facing. Operations actually began last night at 7 p.m. We began brining the streets, and we will continue to brine the streets for through tomorrow before the snow begins. Once the operations really kick into high gear around noon tomorrow with the commencement of the snow emergency, we'll shift over from brining to salt to get a good layer of chemical down on the streets. And then once the snowfall starts, we really will begin to turn to straight plowing until the snowfall lets up. At the point that our operations really get into full swing, we will have in excess of 800 employees dedicated just to snow abatement and removal, and over 300 pieces of equipment, which includes some of the vehicles that you see behind us. Apologize for the interruption. So once snowfall gets underway, as the mayor said, we need everybody to take this serious. Please make sure that your cars aren't on the posted routes. We want to be able to clear from curb to curb so that fire, EMS, and other essential services such as DC Water and Pepco can get to any calls for service as quickly as possible during the duration of the storm. And we want you to avoid any fines or relocation of your vehicle. I want to stress the cold temperature on the back of this storm is going to be very serious, and as the mayor has indicated, you need to check on each other. Please stay off the roads if you can, stay inside where it's warm, but if you have elderly neighbors, please check on them. And then once the snowfall stops and you can venture outside, just help them out clearing their sidewalks. We'll touch on that with some of the other directors. And with the trash collection, we will do everything that we can to get back to normal service. There's going to be some slide dates. It's just the nature of the beast with this type of storm. I'm taking precautions to try and get us back to normal service as quickly as possible. We just ask you to be patient with us. And with that, I'll turn it over to the GM.
All right, so there you have it. Some of the things going on with Washington, D.C. as they prepare for the storm, saying they're expecting about 6 to 12 inches of snow with some ice on the back end. So, yeah, taking the proper precautions to keep everyone safe. We're going to shift over to VDOT. They are extremely busy during these times, anytime there's a storm. Brittany McBride is joining us now from VDOT. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me, what is VDOT doing right now to prepare?
So we currently have crews, equipment, materials all positioned across Hampton roads for our state-maintained roadways, ready to roll. We've also started pre-treatment operations yesterday, and that continues today on the interstates and the county primaries and some major secondaries, just to get ahead of the storm. And that's a saltwater solution that's going down to hopefully help prevent the pavement from bonding to any snow and ice that we're getting this weekend.
Will you all be, what kind of manpower do you have? Are you going to be working around the clock?
Yeah, so we're anticipating going to 24-hour operations tomorrow, and we'll have roughly 250 trucks that we usually have for winter weather, but we've also brought in additional resources for this storm. So we have approximately 100 more trucks that we've added just for some additional storm support for this one.
Okay, 100 more trucks. Explain again so that people know, what exactly is VDOT responsible for? I mean, you all prioritize the interstates, but then some people get a little confused and they're thinking, well, what about my neighborhood? And that's more so like each particular locality. Talk a little bit about your jurisdiction.
Sure. So the cities generally in Hampton Roads maintain their own roadways. There are, so we have our interstates, obviously, that are us, as well as we have the counties. So that would be out in like the western part of our region, and then also up in the Williamsburg area, and then as well as the Eastern Shore are also county roadways that we maintain. And then we also have obviously our major water crossings. So we have the Monitor Merrimack, the HRBT, and then we also have the James River Bridge that we're also maintaining.
When do you start clearing the roads? Do you have to wait for a certain amount of snow or ice to get on the roadways before you do anything in terms of clearing?
Sure. As far as the plowing operations, it is usually around the 2-inch mark of accumulation when we can start plowing there. And then obviously with this one, we're anticipating quite a bit of freezing rain, sleet, icy conditions, which obviously can't be plowed. So that's why we're really reminding everybody, please stay off the roadways, avoid travel. This is going to be an extremely hazardous event for the roadways. So we'll be working around the clock, but we really need everybody to avoid travel. It's going to be pretty hazardous.
Yeah, that was my next question. Some tips that you have for drivers, because I can imagine sometimes when you're out there and you have people getting in the way, they're out and they're, the disabled vehicles begin to pile up. What is your advice to people?
Ultimately, especially I would say in a storm with this kind of significant icing and these kind of impacts, the safest place is to remain indoors and off the roadways. If you do absolutely have to travel, any essential travel that you have to do, build in extra time to get wherever you need to go. Make sure you're driving for the conditions. So reducing speed, leaving extra space between you and the cars in front of you, and just being extremely cautious if you have to be on the roads. And then also, if you're on the roadways today while our guys are out pre-treating the roads, please give them plenty of space as well and let them get that brine down to get us through this event.
Absolutely. How would you describe, I know in past years there's been an issue with your supply, making sure you have enough salt, enough money actually to be able to do the job that you need to do. Are you going into this storm pretty good in those areas?
Yeah, we're stocked up. We have all the materials that we need as far as we have the brine solution already obviously all made, and we have salt and sand, and the materials that we need to address these storm impacts this weekend.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck, and hopefully things won't be too bad, but we are certainly glad that you're going to be out there working to help keep everyone safe. We appreciate it, Brittany.
Thank you.
All right. That was Brittany McBride from VDOT, just one of the many agencies working to try to keep people safe during this storm. Coming up in a little while, we're going to talk to the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, the chief agency spokesperson. We'll talk to Jason Elmore, and he'll give us a better idea of what all the state agencies are doing to try to prepare for the storm and what they'll be doing during the storm as well to keep folks. Safety is the number one priority. Okay, we're going to take another break, Naya, and then, another break, and we'll be back. All right, welcome back. Live Impact News. We are talking about the winter storm that is coming into our area starting tomorrow. All cities are preparing in Hampton Roads. They have their plans. They are ready to go. Let's talk about what they're doing in Virginia Beach and roll this interview to get some more information on how they plan on prioritizing the safety of people in the resort city.
Kind of walk us through what's being done.
Okay, well, here at Public Works in Virginia Beach, we have our staff preparing. We've mixed up and filled our brine tanks so that we can do our preparatory brining of our frost patrol routes. At this point, we're still contemplating, based off the forecast and evaluating how many of our priority routes we're going to treat as we watch the forecast. It's a very dynamic forecast. It's continuing to change every hour. But as we watch that, we're prepared with our brining operation. We've hooked up our snow plows and our spreaders. We are fully stocked on our salt and sand for treating our roadways. We're continuing to watch, and we will react as appropriately to the storm. Well, every storm is unique, whether it's coastal or Midwest, and they change all the time. The forecast in this area with the ocean and the bay, the winds, the directions, it makes it very challenging for everybody to react to. So we look at what's happened historically, we look at what the forecasts are, and then we try to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
And I know right now everything's kind of up in the air. We're not exactly sure what this weather event will look like. But at what point do conditions become a concern for road crews?
Well, what they were forecasting earlier with the snow, or more severely, the ice, is a major concern for us. Snow, you see it. The ice, it's hard to see, especially the black ice. We had some incidents with black ice this last weekend that we had to deal with. So our temperatures right now, as we're looking at them, we're just evaluating what we're going to have to deal with. The ice is by far the worst case scenario. We encourage everybody to stay off the roads in those situations because it's going to be dangerous for anybody that's traveling, including our staff, if it's icy. We definitely want to encourage everybody stay off of any ice. It does not freeze hard enough here like it does up in the north, where you'll have areas where there's water where people can pretend to play hockey or skate on that. There's no time in this area that we're going to get a hard enough freeze that would be safe for anybody to go on a body of water, or even you have to watch out for their sidewalks. If there's water that stands on sidewalks, that will be a concern. If it doesn't drain off before the freeze. So any of the areas that have ice on them would be a major concern.
Can you talk about the staffing too for over the weekend, or what our plan is?
Right now our plan, we're still finalizing it, but we are set up. We are going to initiate our full snow plan on Saturday evening. Right now the forecast has the snow coming in around 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock is what for most of the models that I've seen. So we're going to activate our full snow plan on Saturday night. We will be prepared. We want to make sure our staff get here safely also, so we want to be here before the storm starts. And then we will operate that Saturday night. We'll see what happens. We'll be prepared if it snows more or if it changes. We get ice, we'll be prepared to react to that. We'll bring our snow plan in on Sunday morning also. And then we will evaluate the situation on Sunday morning as to whether or not we have to bring folks back in Saturday or Sunday night, or we can wait till Monday morning to continue to address the colder temperatures that we expect next week. We get snow on occasion, and whenever we get levels that are beyond where we think we'll be able to clear the primary routes so we have safe access to hospitals, police, fire stations, EMS stations, and so forth, then we'll request help from the state. We do have local emergency contractors that we can rely on also that help us to handle problems like that. So there are resources beyond what we have in-house to react to storms like this. What we encourage people to do is, in situations where the weather is questionable, slow down. It's hard to stop if you reach that hazardous. Once you reach that hazardous location, if you're not prepared before, you're not going to stop, and you're going to end up in a ditch or running into the back of somebody, unfortunately.
And with the expected ice, areas of the city you guys look at, is the bridges, like, are we talking like the Lesnar Bridge or like the Pungo Bridge?
Right. We will. Those are part of our frost patrol routes, and we will be pre-treating all of those. And then, as a precautionary measure, what we'll do on any of the bridges that have signals at the bottom of them, like Lesnar Bridge, we will put those signals in flash so that the people coming down those bridges do not have to stop in case there is a slick area. They have the right of way. The people on the side streets need to be aware of that. So they will be on a flash sequence during that particular time frame, just out of caution.
All right, some good information from Virginia Beach. It looks like they are prepared, and they are helping their residents become prepared as well. Let's go to the state level. We want to talk with the Department of Emergency Management. We know that they are coordinating closely with state agencies, local governments, as well as some of their private partners as well. So Jason Elmore joins us with VDEM to talk about what the state is doing as a whole to prepare for the storm, what they will be doing during the storm, and what they will be doing after the storm. Thank you, sir, for taking some time to talk with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Give me an idea of how VDEM is preparing for this storm.
Well, first and foremost is we're getting the message out about how significant of an event that this is going to be, not only to the residents of Virginia, but to those that may be anticipating travel to the area. But we're being impacted Commonwealth wide, which is fairly unusual for us to have this significant event that's impacting all parts of the Commonwealth at the same time with one system. So we're making sure we get that message out there to be prepared. It's going to start late tomorrow afternoon and into the Saturday evening. You have a little bit of time today and tomorrow morning to get out and get anything you need from the store and those types of things. But then we want you to hunker down Saturday evening throughout the day on Sunday into Monday morning, because road conditions are going to be treacherous out there.
What are some of the agencies that you have working together to make sure things run as smoothly as possible, and some of the things that they will be doing?
We work very closely with Virginia Department of Transportation, our Virginia State Police partners, Virginia National Guard, as well as Department of Social Services, Department of Health. All are in the same room in the Emergency Operations Center, coordinating and collaborating any resources that mostly what the local governments need. We make sure that we keep them prepared as well. And as you mentioned in the intro, we coordinate with our local governments and speak with them, find out what their needs are, the resources that they're going to need throughout the event, and try to coordinate that as best as possible.
What is your biggest concern heading into this storm?
Biggest concern is people on the roadway and power outages. Those are going to be the two biggest things. A lot of times we tell people to don't go out and travel, or we urge them. We're not really urging or encouraging this time. We're telling you during those peak hours, Saturday evening and Sunday into Monday, stay off the roadway. It's going to protect our first responders who are out there trying to get people that are possibly having a heart attack or any medical emergency. But it's also protecting our transportation workers that are out there trying to clear the roadways. So getting those roadways, having them clear so that those essential employees that have to be out there can do it safely.
Do you have a plan for if you have like falling trees because of ice, or, is your Forest Service being activated to make sure you get roads cleared in case that happens?
Yeah, with the declaration of a state of emergency by Governor Spanberger yesterday, it does allow us to not only bring in resources from the National Guard to help with. They have large 4-wheel drive vehicles to be able to get first responders to people that are in need. That's part of what they do. They also have chainsaw crews as well. Our Department of Forestry, we can bring in them to help out with that, as well as some of our VDOT personnel are trained in that as well, to be able to clear things from the roadway. We are going to see with this storm a significant amount of ice in a lot of the areas of the Commonwealth. And so we are a little bit nervous about what is going to happen with trees falling, power lines down, those extended power outages. So always urge people to be prepared now before the storm, so that if you do lose power, that you could have those supplies for up to 72 hours.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you ways that people can prepare, like with their emergency supplies. What are you recommending that people have on hand?
Well, make sure you have, bottled water, non-perishable foods. A lot of times people forget that. They go and they get foods from the store, and they either have to stay frozen or end up being cooked. You may not have that luxury of being able to do that this time if you don't have power. Fill up your propane tanks if you want to try to cook something on the grill. Have medications. Make sure all of your medications are filled. It may be several days before you're going to be able to get out on the roadway to be able to refill any prescriptions. So make sure you have all of that readily available and handy. Don't forget your flashlights, your batteries, your charging devices. have those fully charged up. So if you need to charge your phone, those power banks are important to be able to keep your phone charged to get important information.
How would you compare what you're hearing about what this storm is going to be to other storms that we've had in Virginia?
Well, one, I know this morning we work closely with our National Weather Service partners, and one of their chief meteorologists mentioned to us that he would consider this to be a potential catastrophic ice event in Virginia. And so we're taking this extremely seriously. Back in, I believe it was 1996, we had a significant snow and ice event. I was still in a fire station at that point. I was serving in a public safety role at that point, and I remember it very well. And it was significant. It caused power outages for several days, and that's why we want people to take it seriously and to be prepared.
And one other question, this emergency operations center that you will be putting together for the duration of this storm, explain to me what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so the Virginia Emergency Operations Center is located here in the Richmond area, and we have what we call the Virginia Emergency Support Team, which is basically a group of state agency representatives as well as private sector, and nonprofit groups that we work and collaborate with all year round, preparing for things just like this. We all come together at the Emergency Operations Center, and that way we coordinate any resource needs to our local governments, and we're kind of the hub for that information about what's going on throughout the state. Each of our local emergency managers will provide us situation reports throughout the event, telling us what's going on in their communities, as well as if there's any needs that they can't take care of at a local level. The state will step in and be able to assist. And so the Emergency Operations Center is really that hub to be able to do that, bringing the whole community together to be able to help out those that are in need.
All right. Well, it's nice to know that you are there. That's good to know. Mr. Elmore,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone stays safe and stay warm.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. All right, yeah, Jason Elmore with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, and they definitely sound prepared. Don't you think, Naya? I mean, he was pretty thorough with what they have going on statewide. Like I said, I've said this a couple of times, that we certainly are not alone. This is stretching all the way up into the Northeast. So I want to take a listen to what they're doing in New York City, just to kind of, or New York State in general, to kind of see how other people are having to prepare for this as well. So we're going to hear from Governor Kathy Hochul right now on their preparations.
Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, Terry O'Leary, Commissioner of the DOT, Marie-Therese Dominguez, Executive Director of the New York State Thruway Authority, Frank Hoare, Major Robert McConnell from the New York State Police, and Jackie Bray, the Director of State Operations. And there's only one reason we're gathered here this morning, is to send out the alarm, alert all New Yorkers that we are heading into a very, very dangerous weather event that is unfolding later today and throughout this weekend into Monday throughout every corner of the state. No state will be immune from feeling the effect of Mother Nature's wrath on this weekend. So we warned about an extreme weather event yesterday. That event has arrived. It's intensifying as we speak. Now, we're used to winter in New York. We're in Albany today. I'm from Buffalo, was in New York City yesterday. We think we're ready for this. But when you get complacent, that's when you get into trouble. So I'm here to say this is a very dangerous combination of heavy snow and extreme, extreme cold temperatures. And the risks are so intense that as I'm standing here right now, I'm declaring a state of emergency throughout the entire state of New York. And what that'll allow us to do is to coordinate more closely with local governments, deploy state resources into municipalities without the lag of time required. So this will ensure that that all of our local partners and agencies have the resources they need to keep New Yorkers safe and to get through this weather event. Allows us to suspend certain laws that would be other related to procurement, etc. So right now, here's the bad news. Temperatures across New York are plummeting. By tomorrow night, we'll be experiencing some of the most dangerous cold we've seen in years. And if you're heading up to the North Country or live in that beautiful part of our state, you better bundle up. You'll be experiencing minus 40 to minus 50 degree wind chills. The rest of the state, real field temperatures will feel like below zero tonight and tomorrow, down to a negative minus 20 all across the I-90 corridor from Buffalo to Albany will feel like it's below zero and also down minus 20. And even in downstate, the temperature will feel like minus 10, Hudson Valley, minus 10 in New York City and Long Island. And that is not something that part of our state is accustomed to. So what are you worried about? What am I worried about? Frostbite. Frostbite can set in literally within 5 minutes of exposure, as well as hypothermia. So the symptoms of hypothermia are poor coordination, slurred speech, exhaustion, shivering. Let's first of all try to prevent being in this situation, but if you must be outside and you're with other people, pay attention to those signs because that means they're experiencing a serious health event. So we got the extreme cold. Bundle up. Let's talk about the volume of snow. We're seeing lake effect snow falling off of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. The Tug Hill area of our state and Watertown will see 1 to 2 feet off of Lake Erie, up to 18 inches in the southern tier. Buffalo, only 4 to 6. I'm not sure they'll even notice, but Buffalo's prepared. But we're tracking another large storm system. It can begin impacting New York as early as Saturday night. Snow is expected all day, Saturday, into Sunday into Monday. And also our forecasts have been upgraded or downgraded, depending on your perspective. We're expecting more snow than they were talking about even 24 hours ago. So pay attention to these totals. 12 to 18 inches of snow possible across Long Island, New York City, Hudson Valley, Capital Region, Southern Tier, Mohawk Valley, and Central New York. The rest of the state could see upwards of a foot of snow. Now, up to a foot of snow downstate, it could be paralyzing in a dense area like New York City. They have not seen snow totals like this in years. But the good news is one good side of this is I always ask about what are the winds expected to be? Because if you have the combination of snow that is falling, but also high winds or hurricane force winds, as we've seen in many of our blizzards, that creates a condition of extreme whiteouts. That's when you cannot see on the New York State Thruway. That's when people are more at risk of going off the road or into a ditch. So the good news is we don't expect the high volume of winds throughout the state, but there will be surges, squalls of upwards of 25 to 35 miles an hour. So that can happen. Let's talk about how we can protect people. I've authorized all state employees to work remotely on Monday. I encourage other employers to do the same, just to keep people off the roads. And think about this, the fewer people on the roads, the more our great team led by Commissioner Dominguez can be out there salting and clearing the snow and making the roads safer for those, particularly emergency vehicles that must be out there. So let's focus on that. Also, we have a number of special elections across the state of New York on February 3rd due to vacancies that occurred. And so we'll be suspending early voting. Sunday is supposed to be the first day of early voting. We'll be suspending that on Sunday with the possibility of Monday as well in the New York City races. There is also a special election in Buffalo, but I don't believe the weather will be severe enough to affect this early voting on Sunday in Buffalo. Let's focus on New York City. The Board of Elections will be notifying the individuals in those 3 voting districts, or those 3 areas, as to additional hours to make up for the loss of early voting. They'll be adding more hours to the time period before the February 3rd election. I want to.
All right. Governor Kathy Hochul in New York. Let's switch over to Maryland because there's an interview going on right now with Governor Wes Moore. Let's listen in, and this is Maryland.
have mobilized every single facet of our state to be able to ensure that Marylanders are going to be safe. That for our Department of Emergency Management, that we know it's both emergency management and emergency preparedness. And so we are ensuring that in every single way that this state is going to be prepared for the type of storm that this could potentially be. And the ask that we have for the people of Maryland is that they be our partners inside this work.
Governor, can you talk about the challenges that this storm faces, particularly with the ice, and in different parts of the state, we could have a lot of all snow out in western Maryland, but we could be right on that line where we get ice and sleet here, and that could really pose some dangers with power outages and things like that.
You're absolutely right. This is a remarkably tricky storm. It's a remarkably tricky storm because we're not just talking about the volume, we're also talking about the speed of the storm and the slow-moving nature, and we're also talking about cold. You know, it would be ideal if this storm hit and then the next day it was going to be 60 degrees. That's not what's going to happen here. We are going to watch a storm hit, and you will also then watch temperatures continue to plummet. And so that's why the dangers that we're talking about now is not just the potential of an enormous storm with a significant amount of snowfall. It is the aftermath. And that's why we are urging people to take that seriously. That it will be about, you know, we could have parts of the state where the snow is actually the least of the issues that you're concerned about. It actually is the ice that you're more concerned about. There will be situations where, you know, where we are asking and we will pulling a lot on our power resources at this time. And you know, continuing to work with both the public sector but also our private sector partners to ensure that we have everything that we need, you know, to ensure that that stays stable during the process of this storm. And so we have been battle planning a variety of different scenarios. The majority of the battle planning we've been doing are not good scenarios. And so we're just hoping, and we are moving towards an idea that as a state, we are hoping for the best, but we are preparing for the worst.
Okay, I can see Maryland National Guard here. Could they have someone talk about what they're prepared to do?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon. So we have approximately 160 soldiers ready on standby that will be deploying this afternoon to several different locations. We'll be out in Hagerstown, Sykesville, Havre de Grace, Easton, Salisbury, and Dundalk initially, with a small contingent in Baltimore at the 5th Regiment Armory. We'll have high-wheeled vehicles as well as Humvees ready to assist local law enforcement, police, firefighters, and any other emergency situation that may arise. Thank you.
Stay safe, everybody.
All right, so you can see that the governors in all of the states are very busy holding news conferences to talk about the storm. That was Governor Wes Moore in Maryland saying this is a remarkably tricky storm. And speaking about the plunging temperatures that will follow the storm, you know, so many times right after you have a storm, the temperatures kind of go up, you get a little bit of relief. That is not what's going to happen this time. And before that, we heard from Governor Kathy Hochul from New York. She has also declared a state of emergency. And she says New York is ready to respond, advising people to stock up on food, gas, and emergency supplies. And that's what we're doing here in Virginia as well. Governor Spanberger holding a news conference yesterday about the state of emergency that she declared for the state. And just a little while ago, we heard from the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. They are prepared with an emergency operations center that will be going on in Richmond, and they will be in touch with every single locality in the state following anything that's going on, any of the needs, any emergencies, so that they can be very quick to respond. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back with more. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. So many different localities, so many different states preparing for the winter storm that's coming into the area tomorrow. And one of the ways the city of Norfolk is preparing is by putting together some homeless shelters, services for people who have nowhere to go. So let's listen to an interview from Carol Sue McGahee. She is the division head for housing and homeless services with the Norfolk Community Services Board.
Awesome. So we have a winter storm headed towards Hampton Roads. It's going to bring us a lot of different issues, including potential snow, potential ice, and really, really cold temperatures. For the city of Norfolk right now, what kind of preps are you guys going through for our unhoused population?
So the city of Norfolk has a lot of investment in taking care of our unhoused individuals. We have outreach teams through the CSB that work throughout the year, checking in with folks who are outside. And when the weather starts to get cold like it is now, we really double down those efforts to say, hey, even for those who aren't comfortable coming to shelter most of the time, would you consider coming through just for those brutally cold nights to make sure that you're as comfortable and safe and healthy as you can be. We also work closely with our faith partners who provide additional shelter spots during the coldest months of the winter to give a little bit of additional relief to a larger number of our population.
If people are out and they see somebody who they think, okay, maybe that person is experiencing homelessness or needs some help, how can they help or maybe reach out to you guys? What's the procedure?
That's a good question. So normally speaking, if you see someone and you're concerned they may be unhoused, we always encourage you to call the CSB. We have our whole division of housing and homeless services. If you call our main number, 757-756-5600 and choose option 4, you'll get to talk to one of us about what you've seen. But with critical weather like what we're about to experience, we strongly urge you to call the non-emergency police number because the folks over there in our police department know to bring folks directly to the center or to the church for shelter through the coldest part of the storm.
When it comes to being in the shelter, what kind of, regulations should people expect? What kind of, services should they expect once they get there?
So over at the center, we try to accommodate as many folks as we can. Of course, we want to keep everybody safe, everybody healthy. So no drugs on property, no alcohol, no weapons. Other than that, you're going to be sharing a room with a few other people. You will be fed. There are staff on site 24 hours a day to make sure that you're comfortable and that if you have any issues that arise, we can address those things. But the main priority is really to keep you safe and alive during this dangerous weather.
Right. We know that kind of danger that this weather poses to, like we said, unhoused individuals. Is there any concern for maybe individuals who do have a home, but maybe there are issues with their heating? They might end up in, without power. Any kind of resources for those kind of situations?
That's a really good question. So I know that a lot of our news outlet friends have been putting out tips and tricks to make sure that you take care of yourselves during the storm. But if you live in Norfolk, our Norfolk Cares hotline can provide additional information about resources. 211 Virginia is another great resource. We just encourage folks to really pay attention to the information that's out there, take these kind of storms seriously, and that gives you your best chance of success through the weather.
Definitely. You guys work all year round to, help the community, support the unhoused and all that sort of stuff. What is it like to change the operation or ramp up the operation in these kind of weather instances or emergencies?
I'll be honest, we have a very dedicated staff over at the center who really love the work they do. And they get a little extra excited when it's time to host additional people because that's where you really know you're doing the most good. You're making the difference for some people, maybe between, discomfort and comfort. And in cases like this, truly, perhaps the difference between life and death. So we know we're really doing work that changes people's lives. And we're very proud to work with a team that feels really good about that.
If there was one message you wanted everybody out there who needed that support this weekend to hear, what would you want to tell them?
I would tell them to please reach out to us. Some folks have a hard time trusting that government agencies want to help them. We are here to help the most vulnerable. Give us a call if you have questions. If you have a specific situation that you think might not meet what we can offer, call us and talk to us about it so we can figure out the best way to help. Just reach out.
Just reach out. And one more time, give us the best way to reach out to you guys.
Okay, so for the CSB's Housing and Homeless Services Division, you'll want to call 757-756-5600 and choose option 4.
All right. Carol Sue, thank you so much for joining us again and talking to us.
All right, that was Carol Sue McGahee. She is with the Community Services Board in Norfolk, and that interview was done by our Assistant News Director, Janara Bussey. So thank you to Janara for providing that. And you can see other ways that cities are getting ready. It's not just about the roads. It's about how do you take care of people who may not have anywhere to go. Here are some tips I want to share with you. This comes from the state, Virginia Department of Emergency Management. Some of this is easy peasy, things that everyone should know, but you just never know. It's always good to have a reminder when you have a storm like this. But if you're out and about, make sure you use your headlights to improve visibility. Hopefully you just stay off the roads, and that helps other drivers be able to see your vehicle. Clear all snow and ice from your vehicle, including the roof, to prevent from obstructing your view or creating hazards. I'm sure you've seen those situations where you clear the windshield and you're driving about, and then all that snow comes down from your roof and it obstructs your view. So you don't want to get into a tight situation that way. Slow down, slow down, slow down, and slow down. Drive for conditions. Reduce speeds. They always allow more time to react and maintain control. Don't tailgate. Always buckle up. Seatbelts, very important. And check your vehicle before you travel, like ensure that your tires and your windshield wipers, battery, fluids, and all of those things are in good working order before you even get out there on the roadway. And then make sure you have your emergency kit. You want to carry emergency supplies, including a window scraper, blanket, bottled water, some snacks, a flashlight will be good, and a phone charger. Keep your phone charged throughout this entire process. Okay, we are going to go to the airport now, Norfolk International Airport. So, Naya, we have Chris Jones, and there he is. I see him. Chris, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Okay, Chris, you might be on mute. No? Okay. Yeah, we cannot hear him for some reason. Okay, we're going to try to get that audio situation straightened out. We're going to toss to a break. We'll come right back and we're going to work on that. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News, the day before the storm. I want to talk a little bit about Dominion Energy. A lot of folks are concerned about power outages with this storm because we know that there are some ice expected, freezing rain and sleet. Dominion Energy has mobilized hundreds of crews, thousands of workers. They have line workers, patrollers, foresters, and other personnel to support the restoration effort in case there are widespread power outages. And they have contractors and peers from other utilities in other states. Not sure what states they are because so many of the states are being affected by this, but they do have some people coming in from other states. Now, so when the power goes out and you're sitting and you're wondering, when is my power going to get back on? Well, they have a priority list. They're going to restore areas near like hospitals first, like the hospitals have to get back online, schools, water treatment facilities, and other critical community services like, fire station, police station. And then following that, it'll be areas that have the largest number of outages. So when you have those like sporadic outages here and there, that's kind of like the worst situation to be in because that's who they get to last. So it's the areas with the largest number of outages. And they are also very closely coordinating with state and local emergency management agencies to ensure that resources are available for any road clearing as well. Now, following the storm, they are staying on alert because we've been talking about how cold it's going to be. So if people are, still losing power or having other issues because the temperatures are so cold, they are, and they know that demand is also going to increase because of this. So they have spent the last several days inspecting their equipment, testing critical facilities, and completing planned maintenance on all of their equipment so that they can be ready to respond to what might happen after the storm as well. Because our team of meteorologists, they've been explaining that all of next week is going to be pretty cold. We might see 40 degrees one day, but for the rest of the week, it's going to be awfully cold. Okay. We're going to go back to, we have Chris Jones now with the Norfolk International Airport. Hey, Chris, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me this time?
I can hear you. Yes, the sound of your voice. Okay. Thank you so much for talking with us about what might be going on at the airport. First of all, how do you prepare for something like this?
Well, thankfully for us, this is not going to be overly onerous. We feel like we're going to dodge some of the weather that's going to hit some other parts of the Commonwealth and other states nearby. We have a staff of people that are ready year-round. We have a big barn, a big warehouse that has snowplows and all of the equipment to be able to go forward when we need to do those types of things. But thankfully for this storm, it doesn't appear that it's going to require as much as maybe something that we saw last year in February when we got several inches of snow. They'll do things like pre-treat the runway. They'll do some things with, putting some de-icing materials down in areas where people might be walking or on ramps, like the vehicles might be coming in and out of the garages and things like that. But for the most part, we're not expecting this to become a big impediment to people. As far as local issues go, I think the issue that is going to impact people and that they need to be planning for is what happens elsewhere.
Right.
Aviation is an interconnected system. If Atlanta catches a cold, we all sneeze, or if New York catches a cold, we all sneeze.
Yeah.
So if they start canceling, if the airlines preemptively cancel flights because they want to keep their aircraft or their crews from getting stuck in some of these other cities, then that causes a ripple effect to where people aren't able to get their flights here. And it's funny, sometimes people will be like, the weather's great here. I'm going to California. The weather's great there. Why am I not traveling today? And the issue is because that plane that was going to take you to California was supposed to come here from, say, Baltimore, and Baltimore was snowed in, so the plane never got here. You really have to pay attention to what's happening with your flight, whether you're traveling, whether you're picking someone up. It all comes back. They say politics is local, aviation is local. Pay attention to your flight.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is going to be the big issue. You might be fine in Norfolk, but it's elsewhere that you have to be concerned about. Yeah, what else can people do like before they leave in terms of, how easy it is to kind of check their route? I know that there are apps or being in touch with their airline. Any other advice that you might have?
No, I'll give the airlines a lot of credit. I've been in this business for a long time. And, 20 years ago when I started in this, it was common for people to come to the airport And that's when they found out their flight was canceled. They would walk in and they'd go up to check in at the counter, and the agent would be like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, your flight's not going anywhere." And then it caused problems, and you have people trying to figure out, do I take a cab back home? Do I go back to my hotel? What do I do? Nowadays, with so many airlines using your apps, so many airlines having people register with emails or signing up with, Delta Sky Miles or Southwest Rapid Rewards, all those, equivalents of frequent flyer programs that exist, they have your contact information. So ideally, they're giving you a phone call or a text or an email hours before your flight, and you never actually come to the airport and have to sit here and try to figure out what your next move is. So that makes things a lot better. If for some reason your airline is not getting in touch with you, you can certainly look at our website, flyorf.com. You can check with your own airline and its app or its website to see the status of things. There's a great free website called FlightAware that will show you what's happening at airports around the country. There are many, many tools that you can look at to get a feel for what's going to happen before you even think about coming to the airport.
And you have a lot of airlines that are saying, hey, we're not going to charge you those change fees. And that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't work for an airline, so it's hard for me to defend a change fee anyway. I bought my ticket, and if I need to change my flight, why are you assessing me a fee to do so? Maybe there's a difference in fare, and that's understandable, but I don't really understand the whole concept of change fees. And if it's something that they're getting rid of to help people out, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's always a good thing when they're willing to accommodate you. All right, Chris, I thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us about what's going to be going on at Norfolk International, and hopefully you will dodge a bullet there. We hope so.
Thank you. And yeah, I think, again, it shouldn't be too bad here. We're worried about what's going to happen in other places downwind.
All right. Thank you so much.
No worries. Take care.
Okay. Let's go to, I've been talking about how so many people across the East Coast are preparing for this storm. And it's kind of interesting to hear, the different things that different states and different cities are doing. I want to hear from New York Mayor Mondani, and he had a news conference earlier today. Let's take a listen to that.
And for the chancellor, the last time that schools went full remote, it was a disaster, for lack of a better term. I've spoken to parents and teachers. The only guidance they've received is bring your devices home, and we'll let you know by noon Sunday what's going to happen. What have you and the city schools done to prepare both students, teachers, and administrators to ensure that Monday isn't a disaster with a successful remote school day?
I think the first thing is preparing in advance, and I think one of the issues that many students, teachers, and parents faced last time around was the inability for the system to handle the amount of people who were logging on all at once. And so I've been heartened by the work that our incredible chancellor and all those of the DOE have done to stress test the system in advance. So yes, on Sunday by 12 p.m. we will let parents, teachers, and students know whether the day will be in person or remote, but we are preparing for the possibility of remote such that we do not repeat those mistakes of the past. Chancellor, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, so I was a superintendent when the day you're talking about, that day will live in infamy. I will say that very clearly, I want to say very clearly, we have prepared in numerous ways for what might be a pivot to remote for next week. And we've stress tested the system both in person with students logging in, and as well we've had simulations. So we are prepared now, and we've increased the capacity to make sure that we can house as many students as possible on that day. So we now have the capacity of having 1 million students logging at the same time within 60 seconds. We now have that. And then secondly, we've also talked to parents and families about logging in early on Sunday so you can get prepared and used to the system, and then also having a staggered schedule on Monday to make absolutely sure that we are prepared and have the capacity. So I'm very, very confident after having worked with so many of our partners to make sure that this is going to be successful in the log.
All right, yeah, in New York, they're talking about some of the local issues dealing with schools and schools being closed. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from Governor Josh Stein, the news conference that he held today in preparation for this storm. Welcome back. And North Carolina has also declared a state of emergency, and their top state officials, including the governor, held a news conference today. Let's listen to some of that.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we share updates on the winter storm coming to North Carolina tomorrow. I'm joined by the Director of Emergency Management, Will Ray, Secretary of Transportation, Daniel Johnson, Secretary of Public Safety, Jeff Smythe, Major General Todd Hunt of the North Carolina National Guard, and the Commander of the State Highway Patrol, Colonel Freddie Johnson. Jackie Matevier and Murtado Bustillo are our Spanish language interpreters, and our American Sign Language interpreters are Stephen Holland and Karen Magoon. The latest weather forecasts lead us to expect impacts to the majority of the state starting tomorrow and lasting into next week. Between snow, sleet, ice, freezing rain, and bitterly cold temperatures, this storm is expected to cause major disruptions to your daily life, possibly for days. Our message to North Carolina is simple. This is a serious storm. We are taking it seriously, and so should you. On Wednesday, I declared a state of emergency across North Carolina to mobilize resources in advance of the storm. We've activated the State Emergency Response Team, a cross-agency group that includes the Department of Transportation, the Department of Public Safety, the North Carolina National Guard, the State Highway Patrol, and our state's utilities. The NCDOT has already put down 2.8 million gallons of brine to pre-treat the roads and is ready to salt the roads and plow them once the storm begins. The State Emergency Response Team has shipped pallets of meals and drinking water around the state in preparation. Some localities are starting to open warming centers, so check your local government emergency management's website to see what options are available near you. And utilities like Duke Energy have brought in more than 18,000 workers from around the country to help restore power where necessary. At this time, because of expected ice accumulation and cold temperatures, our greatest concerns remain unsafe travel and power outages that could last for days. So we recommend that you take the following actions to navigate this winter weather event. First, stay informed. Make sure you're following your local media, the National Weather Service, and your local emergency management agency for the latest updates and recommendations. Second, get disaster supplies ready now in case you lose power and can't leave home for a few days. You may need water, non-perishable food, medication, and other supplies for 3 to 5 days for each person and pet in your household. You may also need a flashlight and fresh batteries, a battery-operated radio, a way to keep your phone charged, and blankets and winter clothing. Visit readync.gov for more detailed information about how to prepare for a storm. Third, make a plan. Make a plan for if the power goes out, how you'll safely keep warm, what you'll eat, and who you will call in case you need help. Be ready to reach out to family or authorities for help if you're without power for an extended period of time. The effects of the storm could last for days. Fourth, stay off the roads starting tomorrow. For your own safety and that of others, please do not drive unless it is necessary. And that request will likely extend beyond the weekend. Next week is going to be cold. We expect the temperature to fall below freezing every night for the next 7 days. That means whatever ice or snow that turns to slush during the day will freeze again overnight. Black ice will remain a risk in many places into next week. So plan for the possibility that you'll be stuck at home for a few days. Fifth and finally, as you're getting ready yourself, don't forget to check on your loved ones, neighbors, and anyone you know who might be vulnerable, including the elderly. Over the past year, I've been inspired time and again by the many North Carolinians I've seen lending a helping hand to their neighbors in need. So please look out for your family and yourself and for your neighbors too. North Carolina, that's how we're going to get through this storm together. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Director Ray and then Secretary Johnson. Director Ray.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. Winter storm warnings and ice warnings are now in effect through midday Monday for the mountains and the Piedmont. A winter storm watch remains in effect farther east, and as accumulation types and amounts become clearer, the watch will transition to warnings or advisories. Significant wintry precipitation is forecast over the weekend, with major impacts lingering into early next week as dangerously cold temperatures are forecast. Ice accumulation of a quarter inch or more is likely across much of North Carolina Saturday through Monday morning. Areas across the southern mountains, higher elevations into the Blue Ridge Escarpment, and into much of central North Carolina are forecast to see the most impactful ice accumulations, and in some cases, reaching or exceeding 1 inch. As a reminder, ice accumulations of around a ½ inch of ice or more can cause an increase in downed trees or impact power lines and lead to an increase in power outages, as well as hazardous travel conditions. Based on this morning's forecast update, hazardous travel conditions are expected to begin by midday Saturday and will worsen through Sunday and may remain for several days due to those lingering low temperatures. We need all North Carolinians to remain focused on preparing for the potential impacts with a plan and supplies to support you and your family for the next several days. Unnecessary travel not only puts you at risk, but also the public safety personnel, the power crews, and the DOT workers who are working to respond to emergencies, to restore power, and to clear roadways. The State Emergency Response Team, including all our interagency partners, our private sector and nonprofit and volunteer agencies, has been activated here at the State Emergency Operations Center, as well as our regional coordination centers in Kinston, Burlington, and Hickory. We continue to support commodity distribution from our activated warehouses. As of this morning, the State Emergency Response Team has shipped approximately 65 pallets of meals ready to eat, or MREs, and drinking water to assist communities with shelter operations if needed. This is in addition to over 460 cots and blanket shipments to supplement local supply, as well as commodities that have been shipped into local communities over the past several months to assist in building local capacity. Additional commodities are shipping out from our warehouses today into tomorrow. 11 county states of emergency have been declared, and 2 county emergency operations center are activated, with many others monitoring plans to activate this weekend. Communities across the state are opening shelter locations and warming stations. For the most up-to-date information on the resources available in your community, please visit your local government and local emergency management agency's website and social media accounts. Elements of the North Carolina National Guard are active today and pre-positioning across the state to quickly assist the needs of our communities. 95 force packages will be assisting with clearing roadways from downed trees, helping disabled motorists, supplementing our first responders, and assisting with commodity distribution. These force packages include approximately 430 National Guardsmen and women and 170 vehicles, and they will be on station across the state later today.
North Carolina also preparing for the storm. And we want to close with a tweet from Senator Tim Kaine in Virginia. If you recall, I believe it was back in 2022, we had a horrible snowstorm, and he was one of the people who was stuck on I-95 for hours. His tweet: if on the road this weekend, make sure to be fully prepared, but in all seriousness, listen to your local officials, stay off the roads, and stay safe. Getting stuck on the highway for 27 hours is not fun. Yes, folks, he was stuck for 27 hours. All right, thank you so much. Our next program, 13 News Now at 4, and we will have everything you need to know about storm preparations. I'm Janet Roach. Have a great afternoon.